They,
Prashant sir,
they, they are,
sir,
yes, sir.
please
Yes,
begin.
Jitin, sir. Okay. Fine.
This
We'll
is being
start, Rishi, sir.
this is being live streamed on Facebook.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, okay, so students have joined. I can't.
Right now, 14, 15 students are there. They'll be joining soon also. But we can start parallelly.
Okay, so I'll just do some other things, then discuss Flutter for the next 5 minutes. So hi
Okay.
guys, my name is Rishi.
Rishi, sir,
Hi Prashant.
I'll be introducing you initially. Let me
Okay,
give the introduction. Yeah.
okay. So you do the introduction and then
Yeah,
move forward.
Okay. So, very good morning to one and all present over here. So, I'll be introducing the expert over here, which is who is the software engineer at Wiser, who has been working in the industry making software applications using the latest technologies. And at Wiser, he has been developing the mobile app, and he's here with us today to talk about the Flutter and discuss about the Wiser. So, over to you, Mr. Rishi.
Yes, thank you for having me, to one and all present here. So this is really not a very formal talk, guys, and I'm very happy that you guys have showed up for this on a Saturday morning, specifically for something that's very programming oriented, right? So what we are going to discuss today is not just Flutter, but software development in general, as to how to approach certain software paradigms. And this is the first talk in the series of talks that we are going to conduct in your college campus, right? So we're going to discuss how industries and how other big companies actually approach problem solving when they encounter software issues, how to debug, how to have a pragmatic approach, which we have been inspired from the pragmatic programmer book, and many sorts of other experiences that we have had before, right? So let's quickly dive in because there's a lot to cover and a very limited amount of time. So first thing first, what is Flutter and why should you care and why am I caring so much and why is Prashant sweating us to have this one? So Flutter is nothing but a it's a well, I'm a fanboy, so I should have a disclaimer. So I've been using Flutter for I think the past 5 years, since it was in the first alpha release, and since then we have shipped out so many products with such beautiful UI and fascinating speed, performance, and most importantly development time. So I'm a hardcore fanboy, as I guess many of you are like Marvel fanboys or DC fanboys. I am one of those Flutter fanboys, right? So in short, in a very non-technical layman terms, we can say that it's a software development kit developed by Google. So before Flutter was there, we used to use this thing called Android, Kotlin, Java for making Android apps. For making iOS, we had something different called Objective-C, and Swift. For Linux, we had C++, and Windows, we had C Sharp, and Mac OS, we had again Objective-C. And for web, definitely we had JavaScript. So many multitude languages and their frameworks and their libraries. It was very difficult to make an app that ran everywhere. So what Flutter intended was, we'll have one programming language, we'll have one framework, and we'll write code for all the platforms in one single code base. So that's what SDK is. 5 years ago, when I first got introduced to Flutter, it was just about Android and iOS, nothing more, nothing less. In the last 2 years, at least 2021 February, March, I clearly remember, with Flutter 2.0, we got support for Windows, Linux, web, extremely fast, performant, just like other frameworks. And we, in one of my companies, we have developed a billing system also, which you can see in the Reliance stores. They use it to add card systems and all, and then place the order just in Flutter. So that's something. So it's a multi-platform SDK, not just Android, to make apps, applications, software applications. If you have any questions, put it in the Q&A box and just raise your hand. Prashant sir, if they have some questions,
Yes,
just let
yes,
them.
yes.
Right?
I'll be focusing on the questions itself. Like, and if any, will tell to you.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, so I told you what is an SDK, and this might sound a little bit confusing as to what like why it's so complicated, and should we really go dive deep into the plugins? So the answer is no, you don't need to do that. There are many people out there who work on this, because it's open source. So open source, I'm not sure if everybody of you have heard of it, but open source means the source code used to develop this thing is out there in the open. It's online in the internet, right? On GitHub, some on Bitbucket, on something other online platforms. So for example, what's closed source? So you have NASA, right? So NASA has some code to send the rockets up on space. So it's closed source, it's proprietary, means you can't have a look at it and then make your own rocket. But then open source means the code is available to you, you can make changes to it, you can modify it, you can use it as you wish. Certain licenses apply, like can you use it for commercial licenses? No, you most probably can't. So Flutter is licensed in such a way that you can use it, modify it, and then use it commercially also. So multitude of applications, which we'll get into a few minutes at the end of the presentation, right? So same again, reiterating the fact, same source code for Android, iOS, Linux, Windows, Mac OS, Web, and Fuchsia. This is one of the OSs Google is developing, which is purely based on Flutter and Dart as the core language. Like in Android, we have Java, and beneath it is C++ kernel, the Linux kernel, and in iOS we have the Unix kernel, right? So this kernel is called the Zircon kernel, and it's the top layer is Fuchsia, which is using Flutter in and out, right? So, well, how to start? I can come here and talk about it all day, but then let's just see how to start. So you go to this website called the flutter.dev.com, right? And then you go to the get started button. It's a big fat button on the top right corner as I clicked. And then you just choose your operating system. So I already have mine installed on the Mac. So you just click on, if you have Windows, maybe just click on Windows, and then there's an option to get the Flutter SDK started. So you go to the Flutter Windows stable.zip, right? And then there's this tricky little section that how to configure your path. So on Windows, what you need to do is go to the environment settings, and there's a path over there. You just copy paste the download location of the flutter/bin, and then you paste it. So just update your path. So there are very clear, crystal clear instructions. If you guys have it installed, perfect. Or there are like small YouTube videos. So since it's kind of out of scope today on how to install it and configure the configuration, it takes exactly 2 minutes actually. You can just Google a small video that I might be sharing with you. It's a 3-minute video on YouTube on how to quickly set up Flutter. I hope you guys also use Linux, because it's far more easier to set up something on Linux, right? Just run this command and you're done. Flutter is installed and configured by default. Okay, so that's how you get started, and then you accept some licenses. You most widely, but yeah. So this is a small thing that I threw in the presentation called like show me the code, and then most widely stop talking because it's not here to bore you guys, right? So let's start with the coding. So I have my Android Studio opened over here. So it's a small project that I created for this presentation. It's the Paru lab, right? It's for your campus. So what we're going to do is we're going to explore a few little widgets and how to rapidly create some UI. And this is actually a template. So this code specifically has been created by Flutter itself. So it has a small button called the plus button, and then you click on it. I hope you can see my screen. You can click on the plus button, and then the value increases. So we'll discuss a little bit step by step and try to recreate this entire thing live actually. So I'm going to do a very brave thing. I'm going to, I'm going to just delete this app entire thing. So now it has nothing. So step by step, let's create a small app which increases the value of something present on the screen, right? So we have a main function. So if you guys have done C, C++, Java or anything, you will realize that there's always an entry point to a program. So over here, it's called the main function in Flutter as well. And then we call this run app function, which is built into Flutter, right? And then we call the Paru lab, right? So Paru lab clearly doesn't exist yet. So we're going to create a Paru lab. So there's a shortcut actually to create a stateless widget, which is part of the presentation that I showed, stateless versus stateful. So we are going to explore that as well. So what is a stateless app? So what is state? As in, it's a very big question. Like when people are hell confused, what is state, what is stateful, and everything. So you can say there's a common notion called UI is a function of state. So U equal f of x, which is very complicated again in terms, how will you understand what that means? So state means you see something on the UI and there are certain arithmetic values behind the scenes which change the UI. So those values is the state of the app. So currently, if you focus on the value 6 over here, the 6 is the state of the app. And when we click on plus, the state changes. So since the value 6 becomes 7, so it becomes the state changes and the UI changes as well, right? What you see on the screen changes, it changes rapidly. So we just create a small stateless app at all because that is the background app. So the first starting entry point after it is called the material app, right? And inside the material app, we have certain options called the body and actually we have the home actually, right? So we have the home page, right? So we have the home page and then we create the stateful home page. So we have the home page. I'll just quickly show you how I did this stateful actually. In Android Studio or in VS Code, you'll find some shortcuts on how to make it. So if you just type ST, it usually is built in with the IDE. So in VS Code, I heard that in PIT, some students love VS Code. So you just have the extensions in the left panel and download it. So stateful, and then we create the home page, right? So once we have the home page ready, we'll just quickly run the app once again to see if we can see. I think we are going to see some errors right now. Just create a quick scaffold. So what is a scaffold? Scaffold is a white page, like a painter's empty canvas, right? Where you paint some colors and give some text and everything. So that is what a scaffold is, right? I'll just quickly turn off the and see if I can run it again. There are definitely some issue in the app, right? Let's quickly resolve. Prashant, is there any kind of question? I see there are some Q&A stuff going on.
That is related to any club in Power University or not. So I have replied them.
Okay. Great. So let me just quickly run it again and hope there are no errors. Yeah, a small b actually. Got it. There are two questions actually. One is Flutter. Flutter is important for big company job. I think yes, it is actually. We are not just here for. I would like all of you guys to stick around for a while because we are not just here to give a small demo, but we also are looking for Flutter developers, full-time software engineers at our company for a nice amount, and then we have intern roles as well, right? Right. So we have that, and not just Flutter. We have multiple things lined up. So we are looking for multiple software engineering roles and uh, many different other roles, right? So yes, and if you don't join our company, well, almost every startup in Bangalore is using Flutter these days because one thing, and then you are everywhere in the market, right? Somebody comes up and says, I need a web platform. So done. It's a 2-minute thing to compile for web, and then anonymous question asks if I have worked on Flutter and if there's a club or group, I would love to join them. As there are a multitude of groups. I am not sure. I heard that you guys have the GDSC club, which I would highly recommend you guys to join. I was in the GDSC when I was in college, and they made some Flutter projects. Also, there are Telegram groups which you can join where Flutter projects are discussed and stuff. You can use GitHub. We'll go through all of them once. And then, is there a course I can learn from you guys? Well, you can join us for an internship if you want, because well, there's a lot to code in our company, and you can learn a lot from there. So okay, I just quickly answer those questions little later, okay, in the chat box. So what we have here is an empty scaffold. And what's a scaffold? As I said, it's an empty canvas for a painter. So a programmer is nothing but a craftsman, right? He or she has to paint something, draw something, sketch something, but that he or she requires a empty canvas, empty, that, what is that called, a drawing sheet, right? So we have a scaffold, and well, in every app we see an app bar on the top, right? So we are going to quickly create an app bar and see intelligent coding. So it always recommends me what to do, right? So we're going to quickly hover over the app bar and see what things it takes. So it takes a title, right? So title will make it a text. And what is text? What is app bar? You can see it says it's a widget on one of these, right? So it's a widget. What's a widget? So a widget is a UI object. And the previous few years of talks of Flutter, like people like Emily Fortuna and everybody used to say everything is a widget in Flutter. So what's a widget? It's a UI object. People are hell confused again. Rishi, we don't really understand what a widget is and how to use it. Well, it's nothing more than a UI object. It's something that somebody has already painted, and we're going to put this on the screen directly, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to do just Parul codes 2022, right? And we're going to just press save. And now we see it directly reflects on the emulator. Parul codes 2022. Now, this is hard to do with Java and Kotlin. Even they have things that developed after Flutter called Jet Compose, which is a declarative UI, which is a high-level concept. We'll discuss that later. I think Prashant sir is an expert at it. He might chip in on this concept. So text. Now we want to center this thing. So there's a parameter called center title in app. So we just make it true, right? And then we see it just centers itself. Now, somebody from the call chat, can you give me a color for the background? Blue looks very bad. Prashant sir, what is the color of Parul University? Like yellow, orange, any color?
In logo, it is white and red kind of thing.
White and red, is it? So we'll just do with red, right? We can have gradients also, by the way. So yeah, so Parul codes 2022. Now, let's add that plus button on the bottom, right? So inside this scaffold, if you hover, you'll see there's a floating action button option, right? See the floating action. I'll just quickly actually do it. I'll just type floating. So there's a floating action button, right? So now it's very easy to actually make a floating action button. You just floating action button as a widget. Now it takes parameters itself. What does it take? It takes a child. Now with a child, I can have an icon. So icon like a plus minus thing. And then it's a way to actually make icons. It's a whole lot easier if you keep doing it. And it also expects this parameter called on pressed. Right? It throws me an error. Dude, I don't know what to do with this button. Right? So we have this on pressed, right? And we'll write something for it in the, I think it has the background color also. So we are going to give this the red color, right? So to match the UI, I'm also wearing a red t-shirt today. So that's something. There's homogeneity all over, right? And in the center, let's just say the scaffold has a body. So a body, we can have a text again, right? And we'll write there something like 0, right? So it's giving some again errors. I think it's my intelligent coding system is a little bit mashed up right now. So text 0, and then we just put some style at it. Text style, right? And then we put some font size like 18, and we make it bold also, like font weight, and we make it bold. All right. So now you can see it's still so small. I'll just make it a little bit bigger. I think I'll make it 32. Font size still small, is it? 64. So it's 64 now, right? Now what we want to do is when we click this plus button, this 0 should go away. It should change. It should increase the value. So Prashant sir, I hope everybody over here knows what's a variable is. So this is a constant value actually. 0 is constant. It doesn't know, it's not smart. It can't change. So what do? We create a small variable, right? We create a small variable called int count equals to 0. right? And then we put this value using dollar count. Dollar count means it's string interpolation, so, right? So if any of you has any technical doubts regarding this, just please tell Prashant sir or tell the QA, because this is a little bit not just introduction, but has some kind of expectancy of a little bit programming background per se. Okay, so what we are going to do now is it's a simple state function to change the value of the zero value. So we call it the set state. It means it changes the state of the variable. So what we are going to do is we are going to do count plus plus, right? So count plus plus means value of count is increasing. So now if I go and press the plus button as many times as possible, see the value starts changing. If I didn't have this, let's just comment this, right? We didn't have the set state thing. Then see it's stuck at 15. I can't do anything, right? This is fascinating. Now imagine doing this in some kind of JavaScript framework or some Android XML stuff. It takes years. I was somebody who was stuck with that for a long period of time, right? So this is how you change state and move around with states, right? So this is stateless versus stateful. Now let's move forward. Everything is a widget and all widgets are immutable. I think we discussed this part. Then state management. Now, so this is actually jumping a few horses. Before that, I just quickly see a few questions. Can we directly start Flutter without starting native language? Yes, you can, absolutely. So there are a few students from your college who are interning at our place, and their first language was Flutter. They didn't do Android or anything else because it was told by their professors, or even they saw online what the traction of Flutter was. They didn't do it, and native language is not required. Second, Aditya Pitroda asks, where we get all type of dependency for Flutter. So if you mean dependency as in external plugins, there's this website called pub.dev, right? So we have this site called pub.dev where we have dependencies. So we'll not quickly jump into it, right? And anonymous attendee, I'm a third year and would love to have an internship with your company. We would love to have you to have an internship. How can I get an internship? Well, stick around to the end. We have a few things, right? What are the prerequisites to learn Flutter? It looks quite complex to me. Anyways, love what you guys, thank you so much. I know it looks quite complex and a little bit overwhelming at first, but the prerequisites of Flutter is actually just to have one programming language under your belt. You can have the Java thing that goes on in college. So Java is there, C is there, some people learn Python. So one language, a good grasp on the language, like object-oriented concept. What is a class? What is a function? How to do inheritance and abstraction and all those 3-4 things. Very basic actually. If you have some 1 year experience at any language, I think Flutter is a direct click. It takes you 7 days to learn Flutter actually, to be very, very honest, right? And then to advance in it, like we have some other talks lined up, some advanced Flutter talks lined up, which talks about domain-driven development, dependency injections, factory classes and everything. So for those, I think it's mostly a project or as usual, an internship at some kind of company, right? So those things are there, right? So this is Parul Codes 2022. Now, let's talk about the state management systems. Now, guys, the set state thing that we are doing to do count plus plus, for this one screen and for this one value, it's kind of easy, right? It's kind of easy. It's not that much. It's just for 50 lines of code. But now let's move on to a big project. You have to make an Amazon kind of website where you add items to the cart. You have a checkout button. When you click the checkout button should have an animation in it, and then the price calculation and then stuff like that, right? It becomes incredibly complex to maintain such a project. Spoiler alert, in big software companies, the project is around 14 lakh lines. So I worked in a place where our project was 14 lakh lines in Flutter. 14 lakh. Can you imagine? And that is just the Dart code, the Flutter code. Imagine other companies which use Flutter, like Google Pay. Have you guys used Google Pay? So Google Pay is made using Flutter, right? And they have a huge number of lines of code. It's very hard to maintain, and they don't use set state per se. They use something called well, I'll talk to about it one by one. So thanks to this guy who asked about the dependency. So we have the block, which is kind of popular on your campus for some reason. Some students use it. Some interns who joined our company, they said, you know, Rishi, sir, we want to use a block. So it's a great stuff. It's very performant. It converts a function to a state and then changes stuff very fast and performant, but quite complex actually. Given the pace of the project and stuff, it's hard to use this kind of a state management tool. Again, we'll talk on the state management. It's a complete different talk actually. So since we're moving a little bit fast, we have this thing called the provider, right? So provider is a package, plugin. Google, I'm not joking. Google says the provider is the recommended state management tool. A recommended state management tool. When you have a very big project, we click use this. So the company I used to work in, we made a billing engine, right? Billing engine is a complex stuff, and we use provider for it. And we made the entire application in 1 month. The other team in our same company was using Block to make a service app, and they took 6 months to develop the same thing. It's quite complex, but we compared both of the things, and then we saw provider is actually much more simpler. So these are a few examples that you guys can look forward to, and we'll obviously have an open forum where we can discuss it more thoroughly, right? We'll show some examples. So how do you add provider to your project? Just click on this, right? And we have this pubspec.yaml. So we had this one question by Aditya Pitroda, right? Who said, how do we get all dependencies? When we get all the dependencies, what we do is we just click the copy button, and then we paste over here in the dependencies tag. And it's a YAML file. YAML, YAML sounds for yet another markup language, like HTML, hypertext markup language, XML, and other markup languages. There's a AIML, not kidding, artificial intelligence markup language, right? So these you just add it, and then you actually cannot see the pub-get button because it's covered with my Zoom, right? Okay, pub-get, right? And now this will add this project, this dependency to my project, right? So now you can actually see I have this import option on one of my pages. We'll just get dependencies one more and answer a few questions meanwhile. Okay. Aditya Pitroda asks a very awesome question actually. How we reduce app size. So Flutter app size in debug mode is usually 120 MBs, given it as it has assets. But then there are two kind of formats you can compile it to. That is a release mode. So release mode compiles it to, I think, 40 MBs. So that's a reduction by 3 times the reduction. And if you obfuscate it, and then there's a split debug APK, which reduces it further to 17 MBs, right? So these commands also, I think I'll share with Prashant on how to decrease the app size. So we have a web running actually, and it's a very complex app. So we have this thing called deferred loading. Deferred loading means loading only those part of the codes that is actually going to run. So you can Google this, and we have this on the web. So it only imports the libraries which are being used. It's 4 kilobytes. When we request the server, it's just 4 kilobytes, which is very less. So there are multiple ways of reducing the application size. What are the system requirements as it requires? Do I need to have expensive system for it? Well, students from your college who are interning at our company are working with, I think, 8 to 12 GBs of RAM. 8 GBs it works, 12 GB runs, right? So these two things are there, and nothing else. You don't need graphic cards. Don't need to ask your parents ki for gaming I need, for studies I need a graphic card. You don't actually do that. and normal laptop PC. That's it. When I started Flutter, I was very poor. I was having 4 GBs of RAM, and it used to crash every 3 hours. But still, we paved a long way from there. Okay, so this is something that I hope it answers. Right, a lot of answered questions, I guess. Okay. Okay, great. So this is how we add provider, right? And now I hope there's a provider import over here. So it's like an import provider over here. Provider, block, and other state management concepts are a whole talk on themselves, right? This is just a brief introduction, so we won't dive deep in. We'll do some live coding sessions if PIT is allowing us to conduct, or if you guys want a complete deep dive talk on providers, we'll love to do it, right? So let's a little bit move forward a little bit faster. I don't think we have much time. So industry standard for state management tool, provider, and this new thing called riverpod came in. So if you change the words of provider, it becomes riverpod. So I'll just quickly show you that as well. If you just go into, let's just see, riverpod, right? So riverpod, same guy who made provider has made riverpod, and right, this is a little bit better provider, basically, nothing more, nothing to beat your brain across. So but yeah, so something I wanted to talk about today was hooks, because this is very simple and very easy. So what we're going to do is we are going to just download hooks actually. Okay, so Flutter hooks over here, and then it says the installing segment over here that we need to add Flutter hooks, right? What we are going to do is we are going to add this in the dependency section, right? And then we are going to do pub-get. We are going to make the same application, this counter application, but it's going to be much faster, and it's going to be much more standard in a fashion that it's easier to implement. So what's in with the hooks? We don't have stateful and stateless. We something have called the hook widget. Okay? Hook means, we catch the fish with a hook. If somebody has seen somebody catch fishes before, some kind of place. So what we do over here is we count, final count equals to, okay, use state. So we do set state, we use the state of a variable. So we just put 0 over here, and then inside the dollar we do, right, we do count dot value, right? And then we don't do set state anymore. What we do is count dot value plus plus. That's it. It should work actually. Not sure. I think we have to stop it and run it because we changed the stateful to hooks. So there are some certain crevices in Flutter where if we change from stateful, stateless to hooks or anything, it's a bit difficult. While it compiles, let's quickly answer some more questions. How to start contributing in an open source using Android, Java, and Flutter? So actually, there are multitudes of projects in I think I imported the wrong thing. Flutter hooks, right? Yeah. So there are multiple projects actually. I'll just show that to you. Somebody's asking actually. So we just take an example of Flutter hooks, right? So you just go to the GitHub repository. There's a link over here, and you go there and you see there are pull requests and everything. What you do is you just fork it. You currently don't have a GitHub account for some reason, so you fork it, and then you can start contributing to it. There are issues opened over here, like hey, trigger a callback when value listenable changes. So there's a bug. Flutter provider automatically calling itself. So you just go in, you see the discussion. See, this guy Romy Roseret has made the plugin, and you try to solve it. So it's a whole, again, a different issue currently out of scope for the stuff. And which emulator you are using? Well, I am just using the normal Pixel 4a emulator. And how to install it? Well, it's very simple in Android Studio. So this app is now made actually, it's running. So see, it is hooks actually, and we can do control count.value minus minus. So now we don't have that stateful thing, that entire code, and it is even reduced to actually 41 lines, 53, but 10 lines it's reduced, right? So we use hooks to clean up the code base much more, and we are using this very actively in our company. So that is why we wanted to talk about it, right? So we can do count minus minus. See, now it's gonna go minus minus. Okay, right? So this is hooks, and let me just get to the presentation questions. Emulator, right? So how to use the emulator is very simple. You just go to the device manager in the right panel of the Android Studio. I think you need to have Android Studio for effectively, easily installing an emulator. You can do emulator installation using Snap and all that, but it doesn't work half of the time. So what you do is create a device, and then you select a phone. So somebody has somebody is big fan of Nexus 1. Well, I don't think anybody is, but Pixel XL, for example. Then you go to next, and then you R is basically the Android version, and then you click next, and then you name it. So I can sell it the Parul device request, right? And then I can just finish it. Well, it'll start downloading actually. So it will say creating Android virtual device. Just a little bit painful. So I'm just gonna delete this one now, right? So we're just gonna have with the 4A, which is running below the screen, right? So this is all about the hooks that I wanted to talk about. This talk was a little bit fast paced, I believe, because it's too much to cover in 1 hour, and we don't have much time left, right? So, well, now coming to the main section, the companies that use Flutter. So have you guys heard Zerodha? Zerodha is one of the biggest unicorns in India. Actually, Zerodha's office is right behind my building, and it is one of those bootstrapped companies with, I think, a revenue of 1,200 crores in, I think, last year. 1,200 crores. Not like Cred, which is in loss. Zerodha, which has profit. Then Unicard is a buy now, pay later service, right? My friends work at Unicard, and it's made in Flutter. So Slice, again, buy now, pay later service, which I also use, and some students also use. It's made using Flutter. The New Bank app, which is, I heard that it's getting traction nowadays. Then the Dream 11 app is crazy, and then the Wiser app. So the company we have right now, Hypervisor Labs, is a parent company. Wiser is not just the product; it's the app that we have, the main product. We have been in development for, I think, a month or two, and we have rolled out. We are looking to expand our teams. And as I think many people asked, how do we intern and how do we join our company? Is to, well, we have some things lined up for you guys on your campus. Plus, we are hiring, as I aforementioned, we are hiring for internship roles, and we are also hiring for full-time software engineers in Flutter and Golang. If you have heard of Golang, it's another language by Google, developed in 2014, I guess. And this is something we wanted to do, the presentation, so that we can tell students what we are looking for, and they can join us with some kind of training in mind, so that when they join us, we don't have to teach them a lot, and even if they join, they know what we are going to do, so they have some kind of subconscious already pre-filled stuff. So I'll just quickly jump back to the call actually. Where is that Zoom call? It's hard to figure out. Hey Prashant, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
I just love to answer the questions actually.
All the questions you have answered already, sir.
Already answered. They want to ask anything themselves. I would love to talk to these students. So
Sure. Anyone has any doubt regarding the technical doubt or the, like, sir, even I have one or two doubts,
yeah,
as
tell.
I'm learning currently I'm learning Flutter 2.
Oh,
So yeah, because I have completed my Java and Kotlin, the native thing, also the Swift side, and currently I'm working on this Flutter. So
that's
what I wanted to ask is for students in only, that what is the entry point for this the job requirements in Flutter? What are the
okay.
basic requirements? The
Okay.
entry point.
The entry point is basically three things. One is a good grasp on the Dart language, which is used for Flutter.
Okay.
So good knowledge means you can't always learn a language end to end, right? There always will be missing gaps. So at least 50-60% of the language should be readable by the student. Second is having a good grasp on something called provider or river pod, any one actually, provider or
Okay.
river pod. Most companies use that. So having knowledge of that is a little bit important, right? And then third part is HTTP requests handling. So,
Okay.
whenever you have a mobile app, it interacts with API. I'm not sure
Yes.
if students know what is an API. API is like a waiter in a restaurant. So if you go and order something, you don't talk to the server directly. You call the API. API tells the waiter, the cook, the chef that this customer wants something, goes and takes the food and comes back to you. So how to do that via an app? So if you want to make a news app, so you have to call someone to tell the news, right? So the news will come and then you will display in the app. So at least some basic API handling is required for it.
Okay.
So the students from your campus who joined, I think they also had some problem with API integration because UI developing is a little bit easy, right? But efficiently showing and calling API is a little bit difficult because we have to do it efficiently, and much more is there.
Okay.
Yeah. The second question.
Because that is what I wanted to ask for students, because what I'm planning to do is I currently do the project based courses over here in the campus. So one is the Android, other is Swift, and currently I'm looking forward to start with the Flutter also for the students itself.
Okay, okay. I want to
So
tell the
that is it.
student one thing actually. Guys, I know some of you will be sitting for placements. I just want you to know that the packages are really high in market right now, right? Regarding Golang, Flutter, the latest technologies. As many people might say, in big companies, they use .NET, Angular, or React, but in the startups, the pay scale is so good. It's almost like 40 LPA for a new graduate from the college campus. 40, 56, at least what I know of in all the unicorn startups that are happening. So catch the train now, start exploring Flutter videos, because in big mass recruiters, you might get a package of 6, 7, 4 lakhs. There's no increment at all. Right? I was in a Flutter job and I got 4 hikes in 1 year. Okay, just that was, and I just knew provider when I joined the company. So, and it's equivalent for other companies as well. A huge amount of pays, uh, great, like work culture and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it. And we are looking for internships actually. So regarding that, not just internships, interview for certain people. You can refer your friends as well. So can you guys see this QR code on your screen? Can you? If you not, then can you just Okay, so Nikul Patel says what explain what Dart is. So Dart is a programming language. It's developed by Google in 2011. It was made to replace HTML, but it was not replaced. HTML is standard, and then Dart is the brainchild of Java and JavaScript. So it's like the best part of Java, the best part of JavaScript, and it also has the JIT compiler, that is just in time compilation, which I think is in your course syllabus as well in automata compiler design, I guess. And then,
Yes.
yeah, so yeah, so that's basically a programming language. Some more question. Can you guys scan the QR code? You'll be redirected to download our app actually, Wiser, and you have to fill the form with the sorry, you have to fill the PIT code, this referral code while signing up, so that we know whom to give the certificates, and we'll prioritize your resumes based on this sign up. So if you are enrolled in our Wiser apps and using this referral code, it means you have attended the workshop, and so we know that there's some kind of basic knowledge that we were able to provide. Second thing, second thing is this: there's one more workshop on Flutter, I think in 7 days, or I guess on 2 weeks. Prashant sir knows better. So there
Yeah.
we discuss domain-driven development, which is something we are using at our company to make apps. So domain-driven development is a 40-year-old concept of how to make software, and most companies use that, right? So if you are interested, I would highly suggest you guys to join that talk. We are going to do some deep coding that day. If possible, we'll extend the talk more than 1 hour if you're free. We'll learn how to make actual software, not just demo projects, right? Students need to get out of the mindset that software development is a hack. It's not a hack, because when projects get into real hands, into the real environment, they are kind of thrashed around, right? So yeah, so Aditya Pitroda says, you scan the QR code, you will download the app, you enter your phone number, OTP will come, and after the OTP comes, it says enter your name and everything details, your gender and your email ID. There's a referral code in the down of the form. You put this PIT code 2022. So I'll just put it in the chat actually, if you guys want to copy it. PIT code 2022. This referral code you use to sign up on the app, and then we know, okay, for you guys, we'll roll out the certificates by end of day today. We'll send it to Prashant sir. He'll forward it to your college class representative, CR, or your teacher. So, yep. Many more questions, I guess. Okay. Is there any course I can buy?
You can buy my course.
Oh, so yeah. See, I'll suggest one thing. You can join our company as an internship if you want to learn. Your college seniors are helping us make Wiser a actual thing, right? We are in the startup industry, and we are moving forward at a very skyrocket speed in terms of business and in technology. So if you guys join us, you'll learn a lot more than you'll ever learn, and then don't waste your money on buying courses. I highly disagree to the concept of what? Excuse me. Anybody said anything?
No, no, no.
I highly discourage students to buy courses online. Okay, there are a lot of free resources, documentation, YouTube videos for free. Don't pay for anything else other than your college tuition fee. It's already a lot, I guess. And for these things that can get you placed, be a little bit conservative, right? Learn from workshops. I'll come back again and do much more deeper workshops if you want, but don't pay for courses. Don't waste your money. Okay. Aditya, what does the Wiser app stand for? Wiser app is not short for anything. I'm sorry. It's actually a Wiser decision making app. It's a microfinance platform for all Indians across from north to south, east to west, to start saving in small amount of money and get rewarded, get best practices, and learn about how to save.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry guys, my network just got disconnected. Yeah. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yeah, so Wiser is a microfinance application projected for the masses, right? So, yep. And also, how many days are required to complete the Flutter? Well, actually, honestly, if you have some kind of programming background, 7 days, but 2 months, 2 months around, yeah, 1.5 month to get a hang of it. It's actually fairly simple and it's so enjoyable actually that you learn at a faster pace. So, guys, if you, I think my sharing of the screen is off. If you can just scan this QR code and then sign up with this referral code, that would be great so that we can roll out the workshop certificates. Gonna wait for 2 more minutes. Prashant sir, if you have anything to talk about, anything to question, I would love to answer.
Sir, I would like to just request you that what are the internship opportunities and job opportunities at your company? You can officially give us the JD, and then we can roll out
Yeah,
to all the students, not only to the students who have attended this seminar.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll do that actually. We
Yeah,
just wanted to have some people onboarded who have some basic knowledge at least.
sure.
You
You
know.
you keep this 40 to 50 students as a first priority, and then we can also have some more students into your database.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure, sure. Mm,
If anyone is remaining to scan the QR code, just quickly do it so that we can process your certificates.
I guess everybody has done it. So, right. So what we're going to do, Prashant, is we're going to schedule the next domain-driven development call and encourage more students to join on that.
Sure, sure, sir.
That's going to be something, right? So thank you guys for joining. Prashant sir, you can give the ending note if possible.
Yeah. So, actually, it was a very interesting and interactive webinar. Very first time I'm seeing that the expert is very active and interactive with the students. Because what happens, he's just explaining his code and is not focusing on the other things. So, actually, it was a very interactive session. So, thank you for that, and thank you for accepting the invitation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Love your campus, man. Love it.
Yeah. So, we'll meet for the next workshop and we'll prepare for that too now.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Chalo.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.